Hi, and welcome to the 17th season of Imagine Cup. I am Pablo Veramendi, the Imagine Cup Global Manager, and I have on the call here their 2018 World Champions, Samin and Hamayal from smartARM. Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you being on the call. We have started our new season. We're trying to get students excited about participating in Imagine Cup, and I couldn't think of anybody better but to talk to the previous winners. So can you tell me how did you guys meet and how did you come up with the idea for smartARM?
Sure. Samin and I, we actually went to middle school together. And then after that, high school, we kind of drifted off. We moved away, so we didn't get to talk as much. But one random day, we bumped into each other at a hackathon, and we decided, you know what? Hey, let's catch up and let's see where we're at. And turned out we both shared very similar interests in technology and what we wanted to do with it. So we teamed up. We did a project for the hackathon. We ended up winning the Microsoft Sponsors Prize for that. And then from there, we took our project and, went all the way with Imagine Cup, and now we're here. It's been great.
That's awesome. So this hackathon was actually kind of the beginning of your idea. Like, what did you actually submit to the hackathon? What couldn't have been, like, you didn't print the arm or anything like that at the hackathon, right? Like, how far did you get in the hackathon?
That's right. So we already had like a shell for the arm, and then we had a bunch of different components like, a camera, Raspberry Pi, and Arduino motors and all that stuff. So at the hackathon, we kind of just put it all together and we wrote the code or all the software for the arm, and we hashed this out in about 36 hours. And at the end of that, we had what would become the very first sort of proof of concept prototype for the smartARM. And from there to the final submission we made for the Imagine Cup, it wasn't that much of a difference. There were incremental changes here and there, but largely it was the same project, same idea, same concept. I think it just goes to show, the potential that these hackathon ideas have.
Yeah, and you can take an idea, you can develop it, and even though you only have 36 hours, you can then take it to Imagine Cup and go all the way to Canada final and all the way to World final. So how did you hear about Imagine Cup? Was it at this hackathon?
So my first hackathon I went to was in the UK, actually. It was Oxford Hacks, and Microsoft was a title sponsor there. So that's where I first kind of heard about the name, and then after that, there was another hackathon, UFT Hacks in Toronto. And this was the second hackathon Microsoft that I attended that Microsoft was sponsoring. I heard Imagine Cup again, I heard all about it, and I was like, this time I was like, you know what, maybe it's worth checking out, so I'll look into it. And when I looked into it and what the prize was and like what the scope of the competition was, I was like, you know what, this is a great opportunity for what we're doing, and I definitely love to submit our project.
That's awesome. Thanks. Samin, what kind of advice would you give students that are thinking about registering, thinking about participating in the Imagine Cup?
I think my biggest thing is don't be intimidated, because I know for me, just when I started programming and I was getting a lot of encouragement from people to go out, try out these competitions and hackathons. I was always kind of questioning whether my skill set was at the level where it needed to be able to come out with a project that I'd be kind of proud of. And I think what I especially learned, because UFT Hacks was actually my very first hackathon. Yeah. And I didn't go in with any expectation whatsoever. I didn't go in with a team. I didn't go in with an idea. I kind of just happened to run into Hamayal there, and we basically came up with the idea there overnight. So I think my biggest thing was in inspiring other students is that just go in open-minded and don't be afraid to just apply whatever skill sets you have, because you'd be really surprised once you get into that kind of environment with the support that you'll get from other sponsors and other people there. And once you actually start looking into how you can use some of these API, for example, the cognitive services API that Microsoft offers, you'll see that it's actually really easy to start getting involved in. So biggest thing, don't be intimidated and just go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, one of the things that I would suggest is that we have our Docs platform and our Microsoft Learn platform. Both of those are amazing ways to look. They actually have demonstrations on how to use these APIs. They have walkthroughs on how to do it. So you can actually use that as a starting point, not only cognitive services, but almost everything under the Azure umbrella, and even use the code that they have in there, this code that they have at Learn, and we have a GitHub repository as well. All this can be found.
Right. I know for us, parts of it, we were just kind of, they had some snippets of code even on just the API through Azure's website. And it was just kind of starting off snipping those into our program and then kind of playing around and seeing what the outputs of that was, and like that was just kind of the learning process overnight. But it was, you kind of pick up on it really fast.
That's awesome.
So,
I was just
yeah.
at HackGT, and the students there had a very similar experience. They were looking up APIs and codes, and they could just integrate that into their own project, and it gave them a huge jump start. So I'm going to just real quick, I'm going to move over to the website and just show, like, if you go to the website, you can see smartARM is front and center. You can see that they're the world champions. They're there on the map, and then you can scroll around and see all the other winning teams from across the globe in the past years. And obviously what you need to do is click on register now to participate. I'm sure you guys probably did this at the hackathon. Well, once you click on register now, it'll ask you for a login. So go ahead, I will use my student dev account here. And while I'm doing this, what other kinds of supports did you guys have while you were not only at the hackathon, but after the hackathon for your Magic Cup project?
I think one of the biggest supports we've received was from both our professors at our different institutions. They were, using their knowledge and their experience and their research was monumental in like achieving what we wanted to do, and getting sort of that expert insight into how we could accomplish what it was that we were trying to do. What about you, Samin?
Yeah, I think kind of going along that, it was with like one of the professors that I was like, for instance, doing some research with. He was just like very encouraging, like, because I was part of, I guess my concern was, and I could imagine other students' concerns are in starting up their own project, is how will I kind of have time for this when I'm also like juggling school and like other things that they have going on. But for me, like kind of getting that encouragement, I was letting him know, like, I'm kind of having to spend some more time working on smartARM and things like that. And he was very understanding, because he coming from like receiving the education from this institution, he knew that there's so many opportunities for students at during this time, that it's kind of okay to take a step back from your other things and working on personal projects that you care about. So I think on that end, I really appreciate getting that kind of encouragement.
That's great. Yeah, one thing I try to encourage students all the time is Magic Cup is not just you and your team member solo. Like you can definitely get help from people that can consult with you on your projects, people that your, like you said, your professors and other mentors that can help you out with what you're doing, and it's always great that's available to you, especially starting at these hackathons.
Yeah, and I think another thing that really helped was the sponsors. I think specifically I want to give a shout out to Sage, who was kind of there from the very beginning, and she like met up with us even after the hackathon to kind of talk to us about Imagine Cup, and her support was, I think, really part of what motivated us to see that we could actually go pretty far with this. I think that's a really big factor too. When you get that support, you start to have that vision that maybe I can actually take this to the very top. So yeah,
which you guys certainly did. And actually, we have MSPs across the globe that are sometimes part of it in Magic Cup teams. Other times they help Magic Cup teams kind of get their idea out there. So yeah, it's great that you have those supports. So just going back to the registration here. So once you log in, you just have to pick your college level, which country you want to compete for. I'll pick the United States here. And then it's the great state of Washington. And then, of course, the school name that you're in. As soon as you do that, you just click on Save, and that'll bring you to your account page, which is all the information that you need about when your submission deadline is, what you need to submit, and what your path is through the Imagine Cup. So speaking of, once you guys finished the hackathon, you then went to the Canada National Finals, right? So tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, sure. So I think that was definitely like suddenly a big step up, because all of a sudden it started off on this kind of local hackathon level, and we were suddenly getting flown out to West Coast, and in this environment with a bunch of other teams looking at all of their other kind of crazy innovation. And I think we were suddenly put into this space where we could see that there's so much possibility as well, because like some of the part of the competition was just these talks that were being held about what other projects are kind of going on. We learned a little bit about Microsoft's Garage program. And so on that end, just kind of educationally, it was just like really eye-opening into what's possible for students, people our age kind of everywhere. And then more on the competitive end, it was really great experience too. There's so much support. Like for instance, I was really nervous with speaking, but just receiving so much support from when we were doing like our mock interviews and like from some of the other Microsoft MVPs that were there, I think that really boosted the confidence that we had in our project. So that was a really great experience too.
If I can actually add on to that, I was going to say, so what I saw was the case for a lot of teams is their ideas and the innovation that they do is what gets them from, applying to Imagine Cup to getting to the national level. But once you get to the national levels, I think for me, what was really memorable was how the mentors from Microsoft helped us craft our pitch, because we all had great ideas coming in, but I think we could all have used that help in crafting the pitch and how to get that idea across in the best way. And that was really, really memorable as like how Microsoft helped us get from just this idea to like how to convey that idea. So I think, and this applied to us too, but if anyone's nervous about like presenting in front of a large audience, then definitely the Imagine Cup experience or journey will help you get over that as well and improve that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are proof positive, right? You were up on stage presenting to I think we had like 500,000 people watching live, so that's pretty amazing. And even though you had a bit of an issue on stage, you guys went right through that, and you still got the win. Can you talk a little about that? Sure.
Yeah. So during our finals pitch, we were 49 teams around the world. We were in the top 3 last final presentations. And sort of the whole centerpiece of our pitch was focused around our physical demonstration. And we went to do the physical demonstration, so basically it's our arm picking up an object, a pair of keys from the table. We went to do that and it just didn't work. And it was the first time of all the pitches we've done, like the dozens of
Pablo,
I saw it probably 24 times, right?
So it just didn't work, but there were 2 things. We could have spent time debugging what happened and trying to fix that, or just like move to the next part, because there's an allotted time and we could have fit everything else into that time still and forget about the demo, or try and fix the demo and like not have time to do anything else. Right. So it was just like trying to analyze the situation in the moment and type of thing. But I guess it ended up working out at the end.
Yeah, one thing go ahead.
I think for sure there was like kind of like the moment it was like happening, there was like a pit in my stomach, like, oh no, is this the end? Like, we were bombing it. But then I think me and Hamayal kind of just played off each other, and I think we were pretty clear that we wanted to continue to share our excitement for the vision that we had with this. And we weren't done our presentation. It wasn't just built on that demo. We had a clear vision for what we want this to be. And so we continued, we gone forward with it. When we were asked questions about it, we've been like thinking about this project for so long that I think even though there was this bit of a demo malfunction, the vision we had for it was very clear. So I think that showed, and I think that's why we still took first place.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that were watching this video for the first time didn't know anything about Magic Up. Like, how did the team with the demo didn't work win? Yeah. And what they don't know, what they probably didn't see, is all the competition you went through before that, both at a national level, then at the national finals, then at World Finals. I think you guys pitched like 3 or 4 times just during the World Finals itself, just to get in the top 3 spots. And then this final pitch was the one time it didn't work. So everybody out there who's seeing the video for the first time, they had been properly vetted, and the judges at the World Finals also knew, or the World Championship, I should say, also knew that this team had gone through the ringer a bunch of times. So they knew that you guys had a working device. So I'm just going to swing back over here to the website. You can see once I've registered, you'll see information about the Americas Regional Final as I'm registered in the U.S. And you can see kind of the contest timeline. The one big difference between this year and last is that we're actually now doing a regional final. So everybody in the North America, Central America, and South America will be competing for those spots for that in-person final here in the U.S. So very excited about that. You can see your timeline here. And then really once you have your team together and your idea, all you have to do is click on the submit button. Once you've done that, you'll have to create a team. That's super easy. I'll show you guys that process in a second. And in the meantime, what can you guys tell me about what you've been doing since World Finals?
Sure. So after World Finals, that was just the beginning. Winning, I guess, as the World Finals ended, that was just the beginning of our journey with smartARM. Since we've had a ton of press involvement, so there were a lot of people interested, both in the States and globally, that were trying to film us and talk to us about what we're doing. Now, actually, we've partnered and we've been reaching out to other institutions as well, hospitals, trying to start clinical trials for our product. So currently, we're en route to start clinical trials with Sunnybrook Hospital's prosthetics and orthotics division that's here in Toronto, Canada. But really, I think for anyone else that might be like interested in knowing what's possible afterward, the competition is a very prestigious sort of event, and I think being like having participated in it, there are a lot of people that would be interested in taking your idea and exposing it. So try and get as much exposure out of it as you possibly can.
Yeah.
So
And I think like this the opportunities that opened up kind of when we came back home were pretty incredible. So like a lot of it's been us as smartARM going and like talking to different kind of outlets about what's possible with kind of just leveraging some of these API and seeing all the innovation that's possible. There's like panel discussions that Hamayal and I have been on where we've like talked about how we came up with smartARM and where we're headed with this and how easy it is to actually get involved as a student. And I think the opportunity to just share our experience and help inspire other students has also been like a really big part of coming back home from Imagine Cup for us.
That's awesome. Really appreciate that, guys. I know that I put you in touch with some people, but you guys have done that on your own. I love that. And of course, we are here to support all of our Magic Cup teams and our world champions, especially. You guys have been amazing to work with and to see where you've gone so far. What is the next step for smartARM?
Well, I think one of the things we were looking to get a space, we met with Autodesk just yesterday or the day before, so that we can kind of start to do some more prototyping, and like really start to hash out the details of what that's going to look like. And I think we're also looking into doing possibly some ethnographic research, so we can start walking through what the day-to-day life is for an amputee and see directly what problems that they're facing, and then helping design technology kind of based on that kind of research too. So that's something that I'm like pretty excited for, and possibly looking into what our next steps are.
Cool. Hamayal, anything else to add there?
So timeline wise, I think Samin covered objective wise, Samin covered most of it, but timeline wise, looking at the bigger picture, I think we're looking at launching our full scale product in the very near future, so possibly by the end of next summer, 2019.
Wow.
Hopefully, yeah.
Don't take our word for it, but hopefully that's the plan.
What's the price point? Just I don't know if you guys can share that or if you're in that kind of detail, but I'm just curious.
Sure. So to really put it into perspective, we'll tell you that current prosthetics with this level of functionality, they start at about $100,000 to $150,000, come in at about $100,000 to $150,000. But with us, we're really trying to, make this as accessible as possible to the amputees that need it. So we're trying to sell this for sub $1,000, under $1,000.
Wow, that would be amazing. That's wow.
And we're like currently looking into, again, kind of going alongside doing the research with amputees and like looking into what electronics we'll need. We will have to work out the details a little bit into like the kind of actuators that'll be necessary to make sure that this is like a comfortable fit and everything. So we want to make sure that we get the most
getting some audio issues here.
Balance. I don't want this to kind of just be. Sorry.
So go ahead. I just had some audio issues for a second there. You were lagging a little bit.
Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Sorry, yeah. So I think we want to make sure that this doesn't just end up kind of being one of those cheap prosthetics that you grab and then you kind of end up throwing it into your closet, like from what we've heard from a lot of amputees that have bought cheap prosthetics. And on the other hand, we ought to make sure that it doesn't end up being so expensive that it's inaccessible to most of the population. Right. So our next steps, again, it's kind of continuing to find what that optimal balance is between functionality and cost. That's our big focus.
That's awesome. Well, let me just switch back to my screen here. I just want to show the audience here. This is how you submit. Super easy. You select your team, put in your title, description, upload your documents, and you're good to go. And of course, if you want more information on any of the finals, you can just go to imaginecup.com/Americas for the US, /EMEA for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and /Asia for the Asia finals. In there, you'll find all kinds of information. We even have a Get Inspired. You can check out our winners from last year. Team smartARM was at the top of the list there. And we have more resources too. Not only the rules and eligibility, but also we have links to Microsoft Learn, as well as how you can get Azure for students. Free account, no credit card required, $100 in Azure credit. You can use that to get your Magic Cup idea off the ground. So again, I really appreciate you guys joining. Any last thoughts for teams or individuals who are thinking of participating in Magic Cup?
I think really it's just worth giving a shot. Just go out and register, because even if you don't get in, if you go through the whole registration process of like kind of pitching your idea, it'll actually make you, formally think through each of the different aspects of it, from like the business angle, making a full kind of business report, and like the architectural diagram, which is necessary for the application, where you'll actually have to break down. And I think, when me and Hamayal were kind of working on that end too, it really made us conceptualize all the different portions of it. And I think, regardless of if we got in, it kind of helped us shape the direction that we were going to be moving forward with smartARM. So I think just advice to all other students, I think just definitely give it a shot. And again, don't be intimidated, and just go for it. You never know how far you'll take it.
Awesome. Hamayal?
Yeah, I'm going to give 2 tips here. One tip is when you're coming up with an idea, if you're trying to come up with an idea, we approached our idea with a triangle, and it seemed to work very well. So basically, on the 3 corners of the triangle, we have social innovation, we have technological innovation, which most ideas have, and then we have business innovation. So if you're able to tie all 3 of those together in some way, then I think you have something that's very feasible, a very feasible product or idea. And my second tip is the Imagine Cup rubric that the judges actually use it's available online. So I'd strongly urge you, once you start, crafting your pitch and hashing out your idea, look at that rubric, see if your idea meets all the expectations or all the points that the judges are looking for. That's what we did, and it was very helpful in allowing us to create something that was what the judges were looking for.
And you guys, what year were you in when you applied last year? Undergrad?
Yes, that was my 3rd year. Yeah.
So you were second year undergrads last year, right?
I was in 3rd year.
Oh, 3rd year. Sorry, 3rd year.
Second year for me. Yeah.
So that they're talking to you guys. You are undergrads, 2nd and 3rd year. You can do this. It's super easy. Go to imaginecup.com to register, create your team, get some help from either hackathons or other resources in your school and your communities to help ideate and vet your idea, and then submit to the America's Regional Final or whichever region you happen to be in. You could be the next smartARM. You could be winning $100,000 at the World Championship. And also, one thing I forgot to mention that I wanted to highlight here is that we do have prizing at the regional finals. So at the regional finals, the winners will win $15,000. Second place is $5,000, and third place is $1,000. So that's just at the regional final, and then the $100,000 is at the championship. So smartARM, thank you so much. Hamayal, Samin, really appreciate you joining us here. Thank you for your inspiration. Thank you for being an inspiration, not only to Magic Cup students, but to me and the rest of the Microsoft team. You guys are amazing, and we can't wait to see what you do next.
All right. Thank you, Paulo, for being part of our journey.
Thank you all. All right. Bye-bye.